More village drama. There I was, minding my own business, sitting on the toilet this morning just before going out the door to work. And I get a phone call from an elderly lady who is a friend of mine in the village. And she rings up, she's gasping for breath, and she says, I've got to call 999, but I thought I'd call you first. Can you come over? Please come over. So I'm sitting on the loo, minding my own business 1 minute, and the next minute I'm grabbing my coat and my car keys and I'm rushing out the door. It takes me less than 5 minutes to get to her, and she's like, and I have seen her like this before, bless her. I mean, she's in her late 80s, bless her. She's a friend of mine. I visit her. Sometimes there are occasions when I'm just thinking, I'm not having the greatest day. What can I do about it? And I go round and visit this lady, and we sit and have a cup of tea, and we put the world to rights. And my visit cheers her up, and me cheering her up cheers me up. So it's a win-win situation. Anyway, on this occasion, she's phoning me. She can't breathe. Can I go round? I go racing round. I walk in. She's like, can't breathe. And I was like, do you want me to call 999? And she said, yes. So I got my phone out, go to call 999. She goes, not yet. I don't want you to call them yet. And I'm like, you either want 999 or you don't. 999 is an emergency service. Do you want me to call them? Yes, I do, but not yet. I'm right, okay, I'll go and make us a cup of tea. Don't make me a cup of tea. She got really upset about me making her a cup of tea. So I put the kettle on. Didn't make her a cup of tea immediately. She was obviously distressed, not a happy bunny. So eventually she allowed me to call 999, whereupon she promptly leapt up and went to change her clothes, pack an overnight bag, ordered I grab her a toothbrush, etc., etc. I'm thinking, this doesn't tally with a 999 emergency. Anyway, God bless them. 20 minutes later or less, there's an ambulance outside. 3 lovely, lovely young women get out of the ambulance. They come in and they sit and have a chat with her, and they do various tests, and they look at her medication that she's on, and they talk to her about it. And by this time I've put a cup of tea in front of her. She drinks a cup of tea. Bearing in mind it was late morning, she hadn't anything to eat or drink. Several years ago, I trained as a first responder. For a while there, I was a first responder. Unfortunately, because it basically, I mean, the commitment was 20 hours a month. Doesn't sound like a lot until you're working. 20 hours a month when you're working full time is quite a lot of commitment. And I wasn't always in a position to be able to drop everything and race off. So I trained as a first responder, but ended up having to give it up. However, one thing I learned prior to becoming a first... So basically, the reason I became a first responder was because I was doing a lady's hair one day. This was several years ago. I was doing a lady's hair, and one of her elderly neighbours came running in and said, quick, quick, my husband's having a funny turn. I shouldn't laugh. And myself and the lady whose hair I'd just finished and her friend all went rushing down there, a couple of doors along. And basically the lady's husband was having a major cardiac arrest. Not just a little bit of a heart flutter, but proper full-on cardiac arrest. So the lady whose hair I'd just been doing was dialing 999. The friend went to the kitchen with the wife, and I was doing full-on CPR in the lounge. Here I am, at the time, full-time mobile hairdresser, and I find myself thankfully I'd had CPR training, doing CPR in the lounge on her husband for probably about half an hour. It felt like half an hour. It might have been 5 minutes. It felt like half an hour. Could have been more. Anyway, the one thing that I discovered at this point is that when someone went into cardiac arrest in front of me, or was in cardiac arrest in front of me, I didn't panic. In fact, my coping mechanism was to crack jokes. So the lady on the phone, making phone, on the phone to 999, lady in the kitchen with the hysterical wife, and there I am in this very small, overheated lounge giving CPR to a man I'd never met in my life before. First responders, possibly ambulance crew, don't know which, turned up. They weren't overly confident with the defibrillator. So while they were setting up the defibrillator, two lovely young ladies setting up the defibrillator, they were like, "Are you okay there? Carrying on." I'm like, yeah, I'm hammering away on his chest. Yeah, I'm absolutely fine. Yeah, you just carry on. So can someone take over for a second while I just take my jacket off? It's a bit warm in here. Right, okay, I'm back on it. Yep, you're okay. Just you get yourself sorted out. Have you done this before? No, we haven't done this before. Right, okay. You crack on. I'll just keep pounding away on his chest. And anyway, when they finally got the defibrillator set up, etc., I managed to excuse myself, had to pick up a lady from the hall floor who'd sat down but couldn't get back up again. It was all very bizarre. I walked out the door. I coped with the whole thing without raising an eyebrow. Walked out the door and kind of lost the plot, actually, if I'm honest, and ended up having to cancel the rest of my day. Sat, drank tea, cried a lot. So one thing I learned was, in a high-stress life and death situation, I am cool as a cucumber. Afterwards, not so much. Anyway, so I joined the village first responders, did the training. Funnily enough, on one of my training days that I spent just in an ambulance with an ambulance crew, one of the call-outs we had was a cardiac arrest, and sensitive subject. But when we got there, basically the guy was long gone. He was long gone. But we arrived as a response crew. We had to do what we could, so we basically carried on CPR for as long as was legally necessary. He was gone. He wasn't coming back. And then we were there for about another 3 or 4 hours with the wife. But yeah, so again, I learned that in a critical situation, I'm quite cool. I don't know, maybe not everybody does it, but that was me. So here I am in my friend's living room. She's having a bit of a panic attack. She can't breathe, bless her heart. Cool as a cucumber. I went and stuck the kettle on, made her a cup of tea. Ambulance crew arrived. I hung out in her kitchen, did some washing up, ate a few biscuits, made another cup of tea. 2 hours of my morning later, the ambulance crew left, having done tests, assessed her medication, spoken to the doctor on the end of 111. And by that time she was loads better, chatting, laughing, everything was cool. So yeah, what with yesterday and an emergency across the road, and this morning an potential emergency I was involved in, which turned out to not be an emergency. She never got taken to hospital, thank God. It's been quite a day for me. It's been quite a couple of days for me. However, today is Friday. I have had a good day, basically, apart from potential emergency this morning. Apart from my car displaying 4 warning lights on the dashboard, I'll look into that tomorrow. I was supposed to be going away this weekend in my little pod. Perfect weather, it's quite mild. Sadly, it's not looking promising at the moment. However, sometimes bad things happen and you just have to look at the positives. The positives are, I am fine. My dog is fine. My friend who was having an emergency is fine. My neighbours over the road who had an emergency yesterday are fine. And I've just been to a very good, very funny performance of the local Amdram group. So all told, things could be a lot worse. Sometimes you've just got to look at the positives, haven't you? And apparently it's going to rain on Sunday. Great, because we desperately need rain. We so badly need rain. For October, it's way too dry. So there you go. That is the latest from my world. Anyway, yeah, it's way past my bedtime. Uh, so wishing you a very good day, night, morning, afternoon, I don't know, whatever it is you're doing. Always look at the positives. Doesn't matter what hits you, doesn't matter how bad it is, there's always a silver lining. There is always a positive. In every negative situation, there's always a positive. Find the positive. It will keep you going. Seriously, it really will. Anyway,